Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I am C.C. Péan, resident chef and your host for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I had one heck of a day. Earlier today, I did a presentation for Hillsborough County Schools, which is the county in which Tampa falls in. And I did Buddha Bowls for administrators and teachers in the county. It's part of their wellness program. They're wanting to learn how to eat healthier. They're watching the numbers of their health insurance and the diseases that continue to present themselves. And they thought that it would be a good idea to have me and a friend of mine come in and prepare food and talk about eating healthier. And it was a really interesting experience. People just don't know. They just don't know. And that's why this show is important. And that is why if you're somebody who is practicing a plant-based lifestyle, even though people can get teased about it and shamed about it, it's important to speak up and share. Because people simply do not realize that food can be your medicine. And it's the best medicine to have. Because let me tell you, if you get stuck on pharmaceuticals, there are always side effects. And the other part is it treats the symptom, not the cause. So while you may not be dealing with the symptoms, the root issue is still there and it's still wreaking havoc on your body. So we're eating smarter. We are eating food that the master creator blessed us with. And we're eating it what? As close to its natural state as possible. So this evening, I'm basically doing a quinoa pilaf. And I love this dish. I love pilafs because pilafs have so many different flavors and textures, and you can put all kinds of things in it. So the recipe that we shared earlier today was kind of like a basic guide, but you can go any way you want to. What is key is that you have a grain, which I have some red quinoa. It is key that you have some kind of herb. And so we have some parsley. We have got some scallion or green onion. But it really is just about putting all kinds of yummy things in a bowl and mixing them together. It's basically like if you would have beans on your plate and you would have quinoa and you would have some veggies. You're just mixing it all together so you get all that deliciousness in every single bite. So this is a super simple recipe. So as I said, I presented a recipe that was shared on Facebook, but we're going to take some liberties here. So what do I have? You all know I love sweet and salty. I love to have all these different flavors exploding when I eat. So what I have here is I have some golden raisins. And what I did is I put this in some hot water so it's easier to chop up. Okay, so we've got about a quarter cup of golden raisins. I've got 2 cups of red quinoa. I don't necessarily know if one is healthier than the other, but I do feel like the red quinoa is heartier for whatever that's worth. And I want it to be hearty because we're putting a lot of things in there and I don't want it to mush up. Another way to make sure that your quinoa is hearty is just take a little bit off of that 2-to-1, maybe do like 1 3/4 to 1, meaning 1 3/4 cups of liquid, either your low sodium broth or your water to 1 cup of grain. That's going to make sure it's firmer. If you want a softer quinoa, then you would add a little bit more. But because we're doing it in this preparation, I wanted it a little firmer. So that's how this one was cooked. And I did use low sodium vegetable broth. I do that because why? I like to build layers of flavor. The next thing we have in here, this is one of my favorites, Violife. This is probably one of the few processed things that I keep in my refrigerator. I love this Violife feta cheese. If you have not tried it, get thee to the store and I actually think that this feta cheese is better than real feta. I love it, hands down. We have some shredded carrot here. I actually am going to use some lentils. I have some lentils here. Any variety of lentils works. These are the lentils that I've used to make my walnut meat. So they're already cooked and they've been seasoned up with a little bit of sage, etc. They're delicious. I've got some grape tomatoes. Got to get that lycopene in. And I actually have some sun-dried tomatoes as well, because there's something about that sun-dried tomato that has this beautiful, as they say in the chef world, mouthfeel, this beautiful umami flavor. So it's a tomato, but it tastes completely different from the fresh tomatoes. So we're going to use some of that. I've got some cinnamon here. That's different. I like to add cinnamon to my grains. It just adds a whole different flavor profile. We've got a little bit of cumin, some garlic powder, and coriander. Coriander is the last thing. Coriander is a cousin of cumin. Love it, love it, love it. I don't know if I've shared this with you all. My mother was from Guyana, South America, and she was partially East Indian. And so I love cardamom, I love jeera, I love amchar masala, I love garam masala, I love all of those things. And a few of those are going to be in this dish. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to drop these 2 cups into my bowl. It's nice and grainy. Now, I'm using quinoa, but you can use brown rice if you'd like. I would use long grain brown rice, not short, because short grain brown rice tends to get a little sticky. You can use wild rice as well. Did you know that wild rice is actually not rice, it's a grass? Yes, and so it's really good if you're somebody who has issues with blood sugar, etc. Try wild rice. Now, quite often when you look for wild rice, it will be wild rice mixed with brown rice. You want to find pure wild rice. Try that out. Fix a little vegetable broth. Delicious. So that's our grain. And I've got my carrots here. We're just going to dump everything in this bowl. About a 1/4 cup of carrots. I've got my lentils that are going to go in here. It's about another 1/4 cup. So I started off with 2 cups of quinoa, but by the time we're done, this is going to be good for several servings. All right. I've already rinsed my parsley. I'm just going to cut some of this up. Love fresh herbs. You cannot beat fresh herbs. They're so good for you. Anybody who follows me knows that my favorite herb is what? Starts with a C. It's so funny. My brother was visiting me a few weeks ago, and he has that thing where when he eats cilantro, it tastes like soap to him. And I was cooking dinner, and I was chopping away with the cilantro, but I wasn't going to put it in his portion, but he didn't know that, and he panicked. And I was like, I got you. So we've got our parsley in here. This is going to be a super quick dish. This is a way to use up different ingredients that you have in your kitchen. We've got this English cucumber. You can use a regular cucumber as well. I just tend to like the crispness of English cucumber. So I cut it in half, and I'm going to use the spoon and just take out the pulpy like seeds, because that will make, it's going to spring water, and I don't want a watery peel off. Okay. So that's out. And this is great. Like, I have fixed like a tofu salad, a tofu egg salad. We've done a chickpea salad. That would be perfect right here. Right here. Yummy. We'll take the seeds out this other side. All right. Cut off the end here. And we're just going to cut this into strips and then chop it. Go. I live in Tampa, Florida, and can I tell you, it has been oppressively hot. So this, nobody wants to cook in that heat, you know? So this is one of these dishes that the only thing that you're having to cook is your quinoa. And if you've prepped earlier in the week and you've done, your few cups of quinoa and you have it frozen or you have it, in your fridge ready to go, this is great for that. Super light and just delicious. You could have a nice piece of tofu with this, dropping my cucumber in here, or you could even do like some avocado and get that really heart healthy fat. Did you know that fat can be heart healthy? Yes, it can. And avocado is an example of that. We're going to chop up some of this scallion. A lot of people just use the whites, but I actually like the green. That's enough of that. You could also use red onion if you wanted to. You could also do a little heat and drop a jalapeno, seed a jalapeno and put that in there. That would be yummy too. I'm just kind of mincing this up a little bit so that it goes all the way through and it's in every bite. That's going in our bowl. Another thing you can do with this dish is you can make a really light dressing. I'm not doing that, but you could do that. Now we're going to chop up these raisins. I absolutely love golden raisins. I absolutely love them. I put them in pretty much any salad I make. If I make a chickpea salad, I put some raisins in there because I just love that little burst of sweetness. If I fix something that's kind of spicy, I also use, like if I'm doing like a spicy chickpea salad or, a spicy lentil salad or something like that, quite often I will use a little golden raisin. Why? Because the sweetness takes off a little bit of the heat. A lot of times people put pepper and hot stuff and I don't even taste the flavor. The heat is so overwhelming. So I like to take it down a notch by adding a little something sweet. All right. So there's our golden raisins. Use as little or as many as you like. Now we're going to cut these into fourths. If you're using larger tomatoes, I would suggest that you take out the pulpy seeds, but these are small. So we're just keeping them in there. This is such a beautiful dish already. We are eating the rainbow. When you eat the rainbow, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong eating the rainbow. If you are cooking, you could grill a nice piece of tofu with this. Or even like a cauliflower steak would be delicious with this. That sounds so yummy. Just a great heart-healthy plant meal. When I was speaking to the people earlier today, I was telling them, maybe you're not ready to give up meat. Okay, but let's just make sure that your plate is overwhelmingly plants. Let's just make sure that your serving of meat is the size of your palm, which is about 3 to 4 ounces, but everything else on your plate is plants. And I know I sound like a broken record, but you all have heard me say this before. When you eat food as close to its natural state, your body takes what it needs and it gets rid of the rest. We're not worrying about preservatives. We're not worrying about processed food. Pure food, your body knows exactly what to do with it. And it's so important to eat this way because, as I've shared with you in the past, there are these things called free radicals. And we go out into the world, we're minding our own business, and we are being attacked. We are constantly being attacked with these free radicals, with the environment, with the air pollution. When you eat antioxidants, that fights against those free radicals. Well, if you're not eating fruits and vegetables, if you're not eating antioxidants, how can your body fight? It can't. So that's why it's so important. Almost done here. This is kind of therapeutic. In Trinidad, they have something called pilau. Pilau, pilafs, same family, but this is a much healthier take. It's like a pilaf salad. Okay. Now I'm just going to use just a few of the sun-dried tomato. Not too much. This one is already julienned and in olive oil. If you ever want a flavor bomb, let me tell you, use a little bit of the olive oil that comes off of these tomatoes. It's perfectly and beautifully scented. All right, so I'm just gonna mince this up a little bit. Because this is in oil, they're not hard. If you ever buy the sun-dried tomatoes that are like freeze-dried, you're gonna wanna do what I did with those raisins and put them in a little bit of warm water. Because you want these to just be part of like the blend. If you don't soften those things, you know you're eating them. They are hard and chewy, and we don't want to experience that. Okay, we are doing great. It's gonna be a short night, y'all. All righty, so we have got so far in here, we've got our quinoa, we have got our carrots, we've got our golden raisins, we've got this beautiful rosemary scented lentils, we have got cucumber, we have got fresh grape tomatoes, and we have sun-dried tomatoes. So here's some coriander. We're gonna do about a teaspoon of that. Over top, we've got some garlic powder. I don't tend to like to use, sometimes I see recipes where they'll tell you to put like minced garlic and stuff. I don't like that because I feel like when I eat raw garlic in something like a salad, there is the possibility of me eating a chunk. And I don't like that. So if I'm preparing like a salad or something like that that calls for garlic, quite often I will use garlic powder. That's my little shortcut. We're going to use some of this cumin now. So we've got cumin and coriander in here. And let me tell you, one of the best combinations are tomatoes and cumin. If you are somebody who loves a tomato soup, let me tell you, some sprinkles of the cumin on your tomato soup will take it to a whole nother level. And when I make guacamole, I always add a little bit of cumin in it because the cumin plays off the tomato that goes into your guacamole, and it's an altogether different experience. So here is our cinnamon. And the last thing I'm going to put in is my feta. And I'm just going to mix this all together because I don't want my feta to get ugly. You know, I love pretty food. And I always talk about, can't you just imagine this beautiful dish in the center of your table? I shared with you all, and I shared with my the people earlier today, that you can retrain your taste buds in a matter of days. Every 7 to 10 days, I believe it is, your taste buds regenerate. So what that means is if you're constantly eating healthier foods, that's what you're going to crave. That's what you're going to get accustomed to. American food is oversalted and oversweetened. And we have gotten used to unnatural flavors. Think about it. If you're somebody who's ever eaten an Oreo, do Oreos actually taste like chocolate? They don't. There are so many things that we have been brainwashed into believing this is how something should taste. And super sweet food, overly salted food is everywhere. That's what it is, especially in snack foods. Especially in snack foods. If it's not sweet, it's salty. If it's not salty, it's sweet. And let me tell you something. If you ever see some kind of packaging that says sugar-free, best believe it's high in salt and in fat, and vice versa. All right, so we've got our lovely salad. And now I'm just going to put some feta. What I tend to like to do with this feta is kind of crumble it with my hand, because if you cut it, it almost looks too perfect. And I don't like that. So, but this has been out of the refrigerator for a little bit, so we'll see if this works. Yeah, okay, it's crumbling. But I'm telling you, people, if you have not tried this feta, get thee to the store and try it. I've seen it at Kroger's. I've seen it at Publix. Of course, I've seen it at Whole Foods and Sprouts. But if you're somebody who doesn't want to spend your whole paycheck on your food, Publix and Kroger's does have it. So now we've put our feta in here. If you all will notice, I didn't add any salt. The feta has a bit of saltiness to it. And I prepared my quinoa with low sodium vegetable broth. So I probably am going to need a sprinkle. But you all remember what I say. I like to add salt as the finishing touch. I don't like it to be like a main ingredient or, something like that. I want it to just be like kind of after the fact. All right, let me taste this. I'm going to get a piece of that feta, piece of the tomato, the cucumber, the golden raisin, the sun-dried tomato. That's actually really good. I'm going to do just a couple twists. Okay, that's 4. Now, I didn't put celery in this, but if you did add celery, I know I've shared with you all that celery actually adds saltiness to your dish. So that's something that you can do. So now we're ready to plate this. I'm going to use my earthy bowl. You could even add some corn to this, some bell peppers to this. It would be delicious. So here is our final dish. This is our Mediterranean quinoa salad. Or you can say it's like a cold pilaf salad, salad pilaf. Only difference is pilafs are hot. Salads tend to be cold. This is a yummy dish. It is perfect for this time of year. It is 84 degrees right now at 8:22 at night here in Tampa, Florida. This is a perfect light dish. Eat it, get your sustenance, get your nutrient-dense food, low fat, high protein because you've got your quinoa and you've got your lentils in here. Yummy. You could add some sliced avocado to this and take it to a whole nother level. But this is our dish for this evening. Please try it. Let me know how yours turned out. Share a picture, the whole 9. We will see you all next week. Bye-bye.